FM 94, The Dark. It is that time again. It's time to get to know a band we play here on The Dark. And on the phone tonight, I am talking with Josh Smith, the bassist from Halestorm. And of course, last time we talked to Halestorm was about 4.5 years ago. I had talked to Joe, and they had just won a Grammy. And I'm sure that probably rings a bell, Josh. Do you remember those days about 5 years ago?
They're the good old days, yeah. I sure do. Hey, thanks for having me on. It's good to be here. We can't wait to play for you guys and give you a heck of a rock show. But I mean those were pretty surreal days, around the grave. Being nominated alone was amazing. Like that blew our mind. And up until minutes before we found out we won, like we were just happy to be nominated, happy to be there, happy to be part of it. And the experience has been really cool. And obviously since then it just affects your whole outlook on the product, the work that you put into your craft. And we set the bar pretty high from there on. I mean, we always do, but that alone was like, okay, well now we've got this title. So we better have a good rock show.
That's basically just saying you're a first-time swimmer and you don't go into the 3-foot level. You just go into the deep end right away, isn't it?
Just go for it. Yeah, you'll learn or you'll die trying.
Let me ask you this question, and I know obviously I didn't get a chance to talk to Joe about that, and of course it's 5 years removed now since this has happened, but the Grammys obviously isn't the most glamorous place for rock music, and they've, year after year, they've basically pushed it out the door, including this year. I don't even think it got any airtime whatsoever. What's your feeling about that and your comments, I guess, since you're a past Grammy winner?
Right. Yeah, and as that was 4 or 5 years ago. It was the same then. We're on the pre-televised segment, and there's a lot of stuff on a lot of great stuff on the pre-televised segment. In our case, we were lumped in. It was hard rock and metal, which is like, that they're two separate genres, and so we know people on the Grammy committee now, and every year there's been this push to try and make it a known category again, and hopefully someday it does get back onto the televised portion of things. But it starts with this. It all starts here. What we're doing tonight and what we're going to be doing in Minnesota on the 7th, and it's like, just we have to play. We have to be the best musicians we can be, and hopefully, if you build it, they will come, and we'll continue to raise the bar for rock talent, but also just raise recognition and awareness of our genre, and get back to where rock once was. Rock's never going to die. It's certainly not the most popular thing out there right now, but it's something that it's this club that we're all in, and we all love it, and so like that's all it needs, is that kind of spark, and we'll see where the outcome is, but the fact that I get to do what I love, and the Grammy recognition is just a byproduct. It's like, oh, that's really cool if we get involved in that and get to do it. If not, I'm still doing what I love. And, I'm just happy to be here, man.
Absolutely. There's two big things happening in Minnesota this week. One is Halestorm's rocking out with Stone Sour and Bemidji. Okay, so we'll talk about that in a minute. The second thing is this thing called the Super Bowl going on, and you guys are from Philadelphia. Are you big Eagles fans?
Yes, well, I am. Joe, our guitar player, is originally from Wisconsin. He's like
That's right.
a Packers boy.
That's right. I remember that.
Lizzie and RJ, I think if they had to pick a team, they'd probably say Eagles. And funny enough, my wife is from just west of she's from Twin Cities. She's just west of the Twin Cities. So there's quite the rivalry going on the other weekend. And, and so, like, obviously it's a little split. I'm an Eagles fan through and through, but, like, I mean, that Vikings Saints game was, like, I was cheering right with you guys. That was incredible. But, yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's cool that at least the Eagles are playing in Minnesota.
Hey, let me just say this, since you're an Eagles fan, at least you got good taste if you married somebody from Minnesota.
You know it. I mean, yeah. It's a great place. That's a beautiful state, and filled with a lot of very friendly, very beautiful people.
So I take it you're a little busy on Super Bowl Sunday. You won't be able to partake in the game.
Yeah. So, okay. So we'll be in Saskatoon, which I think is on Mountain Time.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
I think we're. So. Okay, here's why we've got it all worked out, because my lighting guy is a Patriots fan.
Okay.
He grew up in New England, and so we have this bet going, this gentlemanly bet of $20 and a slap on the face. Hopefully the Eagles win, because he's quite the trash talker. Anyway, yeah. So basically, when it's going on, our set time is as it will be in Bemidji. I think it's 7:55. We should be able to catch most of the game before we even go on.
Yeah, you should be fine. You should be fine.
Yeah, we should be good. But looking forward to it.
Hey, we're talking with Josh Smith. He's the bassist for the band Halestorm. And you say your wife's from Minnesota, so you've been to Minnesota a bunch. Then, obviously, did you get married here in Minnesota?
A lot. I did, yeah. Apple Valley.
Okay.
Married in Apple Valley, Minnesota.
And how was the wedding?
Anyway. Oh, it was amazing. So we did it. We had the ceremony and reception in her aunt's backyard in Apple Valley.
Awesome.
And she's got a beautiful backyard, and it was August 31st. It was a awesome summer night, chance of rain kind of thing. And it actually, as soon as we got back on the buses and went back to the hotels, we were staying over at the Mall of America, the Radisson over there.
Yep.
It just came down, so we got out just in time. But yeah, I love that state, and we recently moved to Nashville from Philadelphia, and all I hear from my wife is how much she misses that Minnesota winter, that cold. And well, Nashville actually has some snow this year, which is good for her. But yeah, I mean it's a winter. You guys have one heck of a winter.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think you're feeling it right now up in Calgary too. I think it's below zero up there, isn't it?
Yeah, we're getting shack-wacky. No one's really. It's not fun to go out in this weather, and there's really nothing to do. So we've all been pent up, and yeah, we're starting to get a little kooky.
Hey, I know we don't have a ton of time, Josh, but I want to get kind of your story. How did you get hooked up with Halestorm? Because obviously you replaced some pretty big shoes with the band, because if I'm not mistaken, Lizzie's and RJ's father, Roger, was the bassist before you came along, right? He
was, and then in between that, there were a few bass players that came through. Lizzie and RJ. I think Lizzie was probably 16, maybe at the time. RJ 13, respectively. And at that point, they're teenagers. They had to have the talk with their dad, the talk and say, "Dad, it's not cool. You're the band anymore." So we got to get a bass player, but you can do the sound and drive us. So they had a couple fill in, and then when Joe joined the band in 2003, I believe, his roommate, college roommate, came up to Philly as well, and he played with the band for about a year. And then they were looking, but they knew he was never going to stay around. So while he was in the band, apparently they were already kind of grooming me for the position, in that I met them through a mutual producer. I worked with a band that was working with a producer whom Halestorm was also working with. And according to the producer and my dad, who became good friends with the producer, and the Halestorm people, they were like behind my back trying to figure out how to get me out of my band into Halestorm. Mm-hmm. And I didn't find out about this until like a year more later. It was way longer than that. It was years later. They told me it was pretty funny. I'm glad, obviously, that I made the move. I don't think I needed that much help. All the planning that went on to get me in the band, but yeah. I mean, it was basically all talked about and discussed outside of my knowledge, and they were happy to get me in the band, and I was happy to be in it. It's been one heck of a ride.
Could you imagine that it would be like this? I mean, I know obviously when you first started, when I talked to Joe, he said, yeah, Lizzie and RJ, they had a mission, and so Joe had mentioned I was just jumping on board, and then obviously you came on board, and it pretty much has been that way, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. The plan. The plan, like the mission statement, was that there is no backup plan. This is like all or nothing. And it's so funny to think about now. It's like, okay, like I could probably fall back on a trade. Like I grew up, my dad's a general contractor. My brothers are kind of working their way into the ownership, CEO, right, COO position of that. I could have gone there. I can't think of what Lizzie and RJ would have done if this didn't work out. Like they were like genetically predispositioned to be in a rock band. Like it was just, there was no other thing that they would do.
Yeah.
And so they're true talents, and I'm lucky to be a part of it.
It's got to be just awesome to play with those, the members of the family of the Hales and that, and then obviously with Joe too. But you guys are road warriors, aren't you? I don't know where you have any family time because you're always on the road, aren't you?
Yeah, we are. And funny enough, it's been like, we're we're working on Halestorm 4 right now.
Right.
We're working on our next album, so we've had more downtime than we've ever had. Like most of 2017, we were home, bar for some festival gigs and weekend warrior stuff. So that was really cool. But yeah, this is home to us, and it's really funny. I mean, the group texts that start before we go out on tour, it's just this 12-person group text with all the band members and the crew, and it's just everyone talking, even when we're not on tour, about an upcoming tour. And it's a family. It's a really tight-knit family we have out here, and it's really nice. It's nice to have that. It's important to have that on the road, because if you're going to be out on the road and you're going to live in a 50-foot vehicle with 11 other people, you better like them.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the other thing, too. You guys have been together for so long as a band. It doesn't happen very often that bands stay together very long, do they?
No, it doesn't. It's a rare thing these days, and it does come down to that, just like sharing your bubble with someone else,
right,
or a few other people, and getting along and vibing, and for a duration. It's truly it's a feat, and it's a compromise. It's like any relationship, there are compromises, but they're not really compromises. It's not like you're settling, because there's a big picture.
Right.
We all have the same goal in mind, and that's to push each other to be the best musicians we can be. And we've from day one, it's been a family atmosphere, and yeah, these are my brothers and sister, and love them like family, and we got to pick them. We got to pick our family. So,
absolutely.
We have a great time. We have the best of times together, traveling around the world.
That's awesome. I know we got to get going. You got to get to sound check in that, but you are coming to Bemidji, coming back to Minnesota. We're looking forward to that. And I know you have a future album coming out too. Can you give us any hints on that future album, what it might sound like?
Yeah, it's the best stuff we've ever done.
All right.
It's amazing. It'll be out this year. I can't tell you when, but we're finishing it up at the moment. As soon as we get off tour, we go right back in studio, get back to work, and hopefully we're finishing it up shortly thereafter. If you're out of the Bemidji show, you might hear a new song or two. So come out and get a taste of the new Halestorm.
You heard that, Central Minnesota. Make sure you buy your tickets and get up in Bemidji. That is this Wednesday. Halestorm is there. My wife's a huge fan. I'm a huge fan. We've seen you a bunch of times. Continue the success you've had, and I look forward to seeing you sometime, all right?
Thank you, JD. I appreciate it, and thanks for taking the time to talk.
And I guess we have to say go Eagles, right?
Yeah, Eagles, Eagles.
Once again, that is Josh Smith. He's the bassist of Halestorm, and, of course, they are playing Bemidji coming up on Wednesday.